Welcome to the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show, a broadcast service of globalbusinessnews.net.
This episode from the meeting room of Global TV Talk Show is brought to you by
The Bridge School, the accredited international online private school of choice, at bridgek12.org.
Porch Light Rental and Destination Services. Reduce your renter lump sum or managed relocation costs. Visit them at porchlightrental.com.
And by airs.com. With our full range of services, we can help design and manage your international relocation. Find us at airs.com.
Primestone Partners, featuring corporate, government, and developer housing solutions, as well as senior-level advisory services. Find them at primestonepartners.com.
And by International Auto Source. We are the vehicle experts for expats, featuring all major brands of automobiles with flexible solutions and financing. On the web at intlauto.com.
Become a global player in your field.
Cross Culture to Go provides virtual support for your global business and career success.
We can help you thrive in 140 plus countries and markets.
On the web at crossculturetogo.com.
Hi, this is Ed Cohen in Southern California, and our special guest today is in Bonn, Germany. Really happy to meet you, Tobias Schönborn. Hello.
Hi, Ed. Thanks for the invitation. And
yes, thank you. Thank you. So, it's about 6 p.m. there, is it? Oh, 5.
5.
Yeah, 5 p.m. Yeah, okay.
End of the day.
Yeah. So tell us about what your job is and what you do.
Yes, I'm Tobias, I'm Managing Director of visumPOINT. We are actually a German-based global mobility provider based in Germany, but serving the whole world. And we do immigration services, consular visa services, but also like taking care of posted worker, which is for intra-European mobility. So whenever Germans travel to France, they need some kind of permits and we take care of it.
I see. And so have you been out of business the past year because of the pandemic, or are things going on?
Was quite challenging, definitely. And we had a time last year in spring, when the lockdown was in place all over the world. It was very quiet here. But from May on last year, actually business continued to be good again, or back on track again. But then in autumn, winter, we had another wave down, like from volume increase. And now since actually January, things are improving, but definitely we are still not back on track yet because, nobody can travel. There are a lot of restrictions in place. And especially for our visa business, it's quite challenging because nobody wants to travel, and like China is closed, which is the major destinations for Germans at least.
So when you say nobody can travel and all that, that means internationally, or can people go out for a drive on the Autobahn?
They can drive, luckily, because otherwise I think people would go crazy in Germany if the Autobahn is closed. But no, seriously, like actually out of Europe, like within Europe, mobility is now fine again. Borders are open. There are only a very few countries left in Europe where are travel restrictions in place. But all other things, like it looks like green if you watch on kind of a security map, that everything is reopened again in Germany, in Europe.
No, that's good. And what about mask wearing? Is that optional, or is that on a per?
Unfortunately not, but actually it's relief day by day. Like, you hear each day that another city is taking it back, and you can go for a walk without a mask, but in some busy areas or within buildings, you still need to wear the mask.
And so let's talk now about ourselves. I've been involved in the relocation business in the U.S., not as a practitioner, but as a marketing adjunct in the media business for a very long time. I have been a print publisher back in those old days, and we used to publish the California-bound relocation guide, and which was an was a destination tool that was in print and color, about in inches, 8.5 by 11, and glossy paper, and it was printed in China, even back then, and in Korea, and so we had a local representative, and then he helped prepare it, ship it over, FedEx, and so the prints would come back by air. We'd order a couple of thousand copies for the best customers right away, and then the rest were put on a boat. And at those times, it took 2 weeks for ocean travel, and then another week or so for processing and delivery.
Custom clearance, etc.
Yeah, and so we did that for a long time, and we must have printed about 1 million copies, before. Wow. Then the internet came along, and I wasn't ready.
It was 10 copies left.
And so we weren't ready for that. So in 2003, we began the website, globalbusinessnews.net. And since then, Google Analytics has measured, if we can believe all that, then they said about 1.2 million reader page views from 70 to 100 countries, about 60 to 70% US, 20% Europe, 10% Asia. So we've began doing live conferences, training conferences, bringing our advertisers together with the corporate users, meaning like Chevron Oil or Disney or Northrop Grumman or IBM. They would be buyers of our books in the old days, and they would give it out as a recruitment relocation tool. And then, of course, our users were relocation companies and real estate brokers and apartment companies. The same old story, only done differently. So here we are today, and technology is taking over everything. I mean, look at this. We're on TV. And so the Zoom teleconference idea has collapsed time, has enabled cross-border communication and friendships and trust to develop, and rapport, perhaps, and trust.
Yeah, definitely.
Trust happens when all of that happens. So are most of your customers German companies?
Yes, like 90% or 90. It's decreasing because international client base is increasing, but its major customers are Germans, German companies.
Okay, and so you do business with the auto companies, the electronic companies, other manufacturers?
It's a good mix. We have from the visa business, from the consular business, a lot of these technical engineering companies, because like the engineers travel to China, to the US to implement machines, to set up machines, to do this just general assessment and service to very sensitive and complex machines from the engineering sector. But we have also quite a lot of startups for example, like in Berlin, which hire a lot of technicians from third countries, like Asia, Africa, etc. We have small companies where 2 men work, but the 2 men, they're engineers, they travel all year around the world, and they need like 20 visa a year. But we have also large blue chip companies, so it's a good mix, and it's a lot of fun because it's a lot of diversity involved.
Good for you. This is an interesting interview that we're having here. I'm learning a lot. So not American companies, though?
Actually, we do.
Oh, tell me.
One you mentioned before. doing the shipping stuff.
Yeah. And what kind of a company?
FedEx, yeah.
Oh, okay, great. Interesting, yeah.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you a timely announcement.
Hi, I'm Sergei Gorbatov.
I'm Angela Lane.
Together we're researchers, writers and practitioners in the field of human resources.
And we've also been multi-country, multi-assignment career expats.
We owe our professional development and growth to a very large extent to the international assignment opportunities that we have had.
But in a world where distributed work may become the norm, we also want to understand what will happen to the nature, duration, and purpose of international assignments.
Together with our colleague, Julian Dalzell from the University of South Carolina, we're undertaking a study on the future of expatriation.
And we'd value your contribution. You can participate in this important study by completing a simple 10-minute questionnaire.
Access the questionnaire by typing in your browser tinyurl.com/expert study. That's tinyurl.com/expert study. You can also find the link here on ED's website next to this video.
Thank you for joining us in this study. In return for your contribution, we'll provide you with a copy of our research.
And of course, you'll be invited to an exclusive webinar hosted by Ed, where we will share our findings right here on Global Business News.
And so please go to tinyurl.com/expat study. Take the survey so that we can better understand the future of expatriation.
Something that's really neat is that the Bridge School partners with various organizations to provide learning for their students. For example, we partner with a major ballet company, and we are able to enroll several of their students into our school. So now not only is the student able to participate in a school and have a seamless transition while they're very active in their ballet career, but now they have other dancers that are with them that are doing some of the same courses. So it's almost becoming a camaraderie where they're taking similar courses, they're working together on their ballet, and really being able to form this great partnership with these organizations to provide a needed service. A lot of times there are student athletes who will spend hours and hours at the gym or at the basketball courts, wherever it is. And if they're attending a traditional school, they're in school from 8 to 3. They get a quick snack, and then they're at the gym for 3 to 4 hours in the evening. Coming to us and having that partnership, they're able to break that up throughout the day. They can have a morning practice, get some schooling in, have an afternoon practice, finish their schooling in the evening. So there's that flexibility. And additionally, if there are tournaments or performances, it's fantastic because if there's a week where they have shows straight through, they can take that week off of learning and then pick back up when they're done. So it offers this great flexibility. And for the program owners of these sports leagues, it is a win-win situation for them because they see this need. They see this need that their students need to make sure that they are obtaining the grades necessary to be successful adults in our country and in other countries. But it provides them an environment where they can be successful at both.
And so, are you a lawyer? Do you handle the legal aspects, or is that more just administrative level?
It's a tricky question in Germany. Not sure if you're aware of it, because
No, I'm not.
we have a lot of laws in Germany, kind of protecting the lawyers. And so if I pretend to give some legal advice, they can sue me. And so officially, no, I'm not a lawyer and I cannot give legal advice, but a lot of our kind of competition from other companies in Germany. They do this immigration job as well, giving advice, accompany people to the town hall, helping them to register with the immigration office. So it's a tricky part in Germany, but we also have a big base of clients going from Germany out to the world. So we also help them with immigration work, like work visas, work permits, etc.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So how many people are involved in your company?
We are now around 60 people.
60? Oh,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Wow.
Still small, but for the industry, it's huge.
Yeah, right. And the name of the company again?
visumPOINT. It's a German English mixed name, yeah. But
yeah, that's VISUM or
Visa Point.
Oh, visumPOINT, VISA.
I'm not sure. Yeah, it was strategically and from marketing perspective a stupid decision, but right now it's like a brand. Actually, people know us, so it's tough to change. And actually,
good for you.
Our plan was to change the name, but then COVID came,
right,
and changed the game and changed the rules.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So what do you think is going to happen about getting together in person?
I personally think once borders are open and actually companies and corporates are kind of free up again the travel budgets, that people will start traveling, because everybody's sick of having these Zoom or Teams meetings, etc. And they want to see people face to face. Especially if you are a salesperson, you want to see your client, you want to go out with your client for lunch, for dinner, having a drink with them, to strengthen the relationship.
Right.
And there are studies actually mentioning that travel volume will increase. It's compared to, when the telephone was invented, people said, people will not travel anymore because they can talk to each other on the telephone. But what happened because of the telephone, that suddenly people could scale up business. You could talk to a person like from the UK to Germany, you can talk on the phone and make more business. So this pandemic, I think, will increase virtualization. And virtualization will increase then also the globalization, scaling up, that you can offer your products on a global scale. And of course, you need to travel to sell your product, to be on the spot where you have your customers. And it's quite interesting. And we see or hear from the industry that people, they want to travel, but companies, they still don't allow them to travel.
Interesting, isn't it? So when do you think we could get together and meet in person?
It depends on your government. When the US is reopening again, for example, and of course, if COVID numbers go down. And I think a third or important reason is about the vaccination, that countries accept the vaccine, like Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Moderna, and even the Sinopharm from China or the Sputnik from Russia. It needs to be accepted internationally that this is like a valid vaccination, and which allows you to travel. Before you board the plane, you show, hey, I'm vaccinated, and you can just enter the plane. But right now, there's still a lot of discussion going on, and even US and Europe, which have a very strong relationship, they are not on the same level yet. But I think it's just a question of time.
Yeah, so for instance, I had 2 Moderna shots last winter. In February. Wow. And it was no after effects, nothing, and happy, of course, for that. And now here in California, it's wide open, but it wasn't for a while. But we had the okay to go out, walk on the beach, go for a walk every day, no problem. If we go into a store, we had to wear a mask, but not now. But each business has their own option to require it.
Do you need to show your vaccination certificate somehow to
Not
that
yet.
they let you in? No.
Not yet. So in California, they've just 2 days ago, set up a website where you can go and apply to get the QR code on your phone, which is authorized, and I haven't done it yet, but I was thinking of doing it today. As a matter of fact, I've got the address, and you go there and you fill it out, and supposedly it works pretty quick. But so I look forward to doing that, and that's going to become the standard. Yeah. So last December, just to give you an idea, last December, before the vaccine, Joanne and I went on a vacation to Hawaii, which from here is a 6-hour flight.
Wow.
Okay. And before we were allowed to do that, we had to go get a COVID test.
Okay.
All right. And we passed. And then you had to wear a mask, of course. And then when you landed, they took the temperature and they, all that stuff. And then there was no quarantine. So.
It's interesting. We hear from our clients a lot of horror stories about China, for example, because it's very tough to get a visa in the first instance. Like, you need an official government invitation, and with this you need to apply here for the visa, and for the visa you need to have different tests, like a negative PCR, like COVID test, and negative antibody test, which only needs to be valid 48 hours, so it's quite time sensible. And then you can enter China, or you can board the plane, enter China. Then they also take your temperature, and if you're like 0.2 degrees higher than normal, they take you immediately to the hospital for 2 weeks and do a lot of like research with you. It's they do a lot of tests. Nobody really knows what they do with you. They look in each kind of body part. It's really incredible. And we hear from our German clients that the technicians, they don't want to go to China anymore because of these horror stories. Because in the worst case, we travel to China to do like commissioning for 1 week, but you're in quarantine for 4 weeks in the worst case.
Look at it.
And then,
I'm not going.
The official China hospital or hotel, I think that's worse than prison.
So tell me, when are companies going to allow employees to come back?
What do you mean by come back to the office or to enter China?
In Germany, what do you think is going to happen and when?
Actually, in Germany next month, so next week, there's a law running out that people are enforced to work from home, so people can come back to the office. But you hear from the industry that still a lot of companies, they don't want that people come back because they know, hey, I save a lot of costs. Don't stay work from home, and I don't need to pay your coffee, electricity, and all the other stuff. And it's the same with traveling. They see, hey, you didn't need to travel for a year, so you can work 2 more months remotely without traveling, and we can save a lot of costs. But the pressure will increase definitely because people are also tired of working from home all day, most of them, and they want to come back at least once or twice or 3 times a week. And I think it will be like a smooth process that they go back to the companies, to the offices, and like at latest in autumn, when there is no 5th or 6th wave of COVID,
right?
It will be back to normal, or the new normal. That's a plan.
Yeah. So Tobias, it's really nice to meet you, and I look forward to shaking your hand in person.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe on Hawaii, yeah.
Well, wherever, yeah. So there's a couple of corporate meetings that are going to happen, supposedly in hybrid, meaning some people will go in person, but most will watch it in October.
Okay.
The Worldwide ERC is holding a meeting, and also the International Association of Movers. And yeah, and there's already been some corporate meetings in Singapore, and
Yeah.
I don't know how they've gone, but I've heard that it's happened. And then some local groups, for instance, in Chicago or in Atlanta, they've gotten together, practicing distance, but not always.
Yeah.
And everybody's apparently, trusting that people are truthful, that they've had the vaccine.
Yes, I think in Europe will be very strict. If you want to participate like a convention, you need to show your vaccination certificate. Otherwise, you're not allowed to enter the location.
Well, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. But we will see what happens also with the new virus mutations we have.
Yeah, right. It's scary.
Definitely, life has changed and will be changed forever. There's a new normal. It will never be as it is before. We just need to accept the virus, to live with it, and learn new ways to arrange things.
I welcome you to join us again someday. I know you're getting sick of these meetings, but we try to do it a little differently here on Global TV, which is our name. Since we started Global TV talk shows in April of 2020, we've produced about 150 programs. And between now and Christmas coming up, we will very likely do 100 more. Very busy summer, and if people want to come on and they want to use this as a platform to talk about their product,
yeah,
and about the
good
service,
idea.
and meet people, and we are supported by advertising, and so that is our modus operandi now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like for instance, tomorrow, which is June 25 at 6 p.m. Central European Time, I'm producing a global teleconference called Global Voices for Change. All right, for whatever that means. And so people are coming on to talk about, they're coming on to talk about how they have reinvented themselves, or reinvented or repositioned their brand, or or how they've changed their culture in the company to suit the new needs of customers and employees. Because COVID has impacted us all. That has impacted everything.
No, it's a good idea. I will definitely look out for it.
I'll send you a link and give you some information about it. And you're welcome to join. There's no fee. All right, stay safe and be well.
You too.
Thank you. Okay, this is Global TV signing off. Thank you, Tobias.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining us in the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show.
Have a wonderful day, and stay safe.